It is the Frank and Friends show. Hi there, I'm Frank Murphy. Today, a special episode. We're obviously doing it on Zoom because we're going to talk with Russell Hitchcock of the band Air Supply. And I will admit that I am a fan of Air Supply, and I've seen them in concert 3 times. And some of those stories are worth mentioning. And we'll hear all about Air Supply's new single that's coming out and their upcoming show on Sunday at the Niswonger Performing Arts Center in Greeneville. You get your tickets. Well, actually, they're very low ticket alert, so get them quick at npacgreeneville.com. Of course, we do appreciate your liking, watching, sharing, subscribing to the Frank and Friends show. Whether you listen on any of the audio podcast apps, we appreciate that. Or especially if you can help us get to 1,000 YouTube subscribers by Christmas. That is our goal, and I think we can do it. So hit the subscribe button on YouTube and gently smash that bell for notifications. Right before Russell comes on, I'll also remind you that our merch, our fabulous Frank and Friends show merch, whether it's the mugs, I don't know if I have really room to show the whole beach towel here on Zoom, but you get the idea. We have all that stuff for you at frankandfriendsshow.com/store. All right, let's get on with it. Russell Hitchcock from the band Air Supply. What a joy to welcome Russell Hitchcock to the Frank and Friends show. Hi, Russell. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Oh, I'm happy to have you on the show. I'll admit right up front that I enjoy Air Supply's music. I have since I remember hearing Lost in Love 40 plus years ago, and I've seen you at concert 3 times. And there's some stories that go with that. And I also right up front want to mention that you and Graham and the band Air Supply will be performing at the Niswonger Performing Arts Center in Greeneville, Tennessee on Sunday. And I want you to notice, I subscribe to their brochure in the mail, so I get all the whole season. So this has been out for a few months now, and they put you guys in the most prominent position on the brochure.
And rightly so.
Rightly so. I mean, look, they made you guys, you're bigger than Kansas.
There you
go. So yeah. I've been thrilled to think about you guys coming to town.
Thank you. We actually played a show with Kansas in the Dominican Republic many years ago. Great experience. Great guys, too.
Because you guys really, Air Supply really truly is a touring band. I mean, you do 130 plus gigs a year. I mean, I know we all got locked down for a while, but you guys seem to have bounced back, and you're just picked up this tour schedule like nothing happened.
Well, we're very lucky. We've had a great legion of fans over the years, and they still come back to see us.
The Airheads.
Yeah, we call them the Airheads, but that's a compliment for them. And we have, that's what we've always considered ourselves.
Yeah.
Since we started in 1975. The COVID situation was the only time we'd been off the road in 47 years. So it was quite an adjustment, to say the least. And of course, we were all raging to get back on the road again, because that's our life,
Yeah. And then you guys put on an amazing show. We're going to talk a bit about that. But I also know that from seeing on Facebook, you and your partner had hand puppets. You and Graham had these puppets going with, I guess, of yourselves to announce a new Air Supply single for the first time in 10 years.
Well, the interesting thing about the puppets was we did a Zoom call with a young lady, Sandy. I can't remember her last name. She's 12 years old. She has a blog with her puppet, Anna Lynn. And so they interview celebrities. And she came to our show in New York last week, and she brought puppets of, Graham and I. So we thought, just for a laugh, we'd announce the new single to our fans.
Yes.
And it got quite a very positive reaction.
And if I read the puppet's lips correctly, the song is called Be Tough.
Yes. It's actually, it's Air Supply, obviously, from start to finish, with the melodies and the vocals and stuff. But it's a beautiful song. And, we're looking forward to having it released in a couple of weeks.
And that is kind of the magic of Air Supply is, you both are comfortable in your roles, you as the singer and Graham as the songwriter. I mean, he's a great songwriter, obviously. And I've heard you say that you're not. Well, and he doesn't want to be the lead singer, and you do.
Well, that's a fact. Early on in the piece, I discovered that I couldn't write songs. And if you've got someone like him to work with, I mean, why bother?
Yeah, they're also brilliant.
Yeah, and as you said, he doesn't want to be the lead singer. So one of the reasons I think for our longevity is that we never step on each other's toes. We he does what he does, I do what I do, and when we put the two together, it's a great mix.
And there's an anecdote about songwriting, I guess, right before you guys broke into the US market and you're popular in Australia. There was a line, what was it in I'm All Out of Love, I Want to Arrest You. And Clive Davis had to say, hey, guys, in America, that means something different.
Yeah, well, it was actually, if you like have the literal French meaning, it means stop.
Yes.
And that was a bit, yes, very good, but it was a bit too lofty for Clive. So obviously we're glad we changed, or he changed the lyric, and it went on to become, probably our biggest hit ever, I think, worldwide.
Oh, and it's so good. And now I've noticed, and I watched a Facebook Live from just the other day that where you guys were performing. You sound just as good on that as you did all 3 times that I've seen you in concert, which were all more, I mean, once in the 90s and then twice in the 2010s. So it's not like I'm not talking about long time ago. I'm talking about you guys, especially you, well, both of you have kept your voices in shape. You still sound like Air Supply. And I mean that as the highest compliment. Yep. Because I have seen 2 other classic hits artists in the 2010s, Dennis DeYoung and then Danny Hutton from Three Dog Night. And I was able to introduce those shows. I was fronting the shows. So I got to see them and talk to them a little bit backstage. They put so much effort and so much care into protecting their voice. And then when they walk out on stage, you can see that it's worth it. I sense that about Air Supply also, that you guys walk out on stage and you're like, whoa, those guys care about what they do, and they want to make sure that they sound exactly the way the fans expect.
Well, our obligation is to put on the best show we can.
Yeah.
And I appreciate, especially in recent times, people spend well-earned money to come and see it. Doesn't matter whether it's us or anybody.
Yeah.
And it's expensive these days to see any show. And if you want to get the best tickets, it's way more expensive.
Right.
Which incidentally, we have a lot of probably complaints about fans writing in saying, you guys shouldn't charge as much for your tickets. And Air Supply doesn't set the ticket prices at all.
It's the venue,
We get paid a fee, and then the venue does what they want to do. Mm-hmm. Ticketmaster does what they want to do.
Yep.
Anyway, that's by the by.
Well, that's been a controversy lately with Bruce Springsteen tickets in some areas because Ticketmaster has new policies that the fans weren't aware about. And all of a sudden the ticket prices are fluctuating wildly for these Springsteen tickets. Yeah. And Bruce is like, I didn't do that. So you're saying the same thing.
It's hard because the buck stops at the artist, obviously. And a lot of people think that, we make the rules about pricing. People say to us, why don't you come and play such and such a venue or such and such a country? And it's the same thing. We have to be invited first.
Yeah.
We have to do a deal that makes sense for the venue and us. It's not as easy as, picking out a spot and saying, we're going to play the next weekend.
Yeah. Well, I hope you enjoy. I know you'll enjoy the Niswonger Performing Arts Center in Greeneville. It is an absolutely gorgeous facility. I've been there multiple times to see shows, and every seat is comfortable. The acoustics are great. I mean, you guys, I know, are going to rock the house from experience, having seen you before. But I also know that being in the South, being in Tennessee, really isn't that much of a stretch because you have lived on and off in Georgia for years.
Well, I lived there for a few years. I'm back in sunny Southern California now.
Oh, okay.
And I feel much more, at home there. I mean, I lived there for 30 years on and off.
Yeah.
But I'm back there, and that's where I'll be for the rest of my days. Hopefully a long time from now.
Oh, yeah. So being in the South, you like I'm assuming, I'm a Northerner who has moved to the South by choice, and I love it here.
Okay.
Just everything about the hospitality, the comfort,
ease. That's, Southern hospitality is certainly not just a pie in the sky thing. It exists to a very large degree. And I loved living in Georgia just for the amount of trees you could see.
Yeah.
I mean, LA, you get off the plane, it's all flat and built up. Here you get off the airplane to go anywhere, and 2 minutes out of the airport, you're in forest.
That's right.
Right. So it has its pluses, certainly, but my heart's in California, and that's where I'll be.
Well, the time I got to meet you, we were in Glendale, California, and I'm in person. I'm
Oh,
going to
okay.
talk about that coming up in a moment. But I also want to go back to the beginning, 1975. I mean, you can actually quote the date off the top of your head. Was it
May the 12th.
May the 12th, 1975, when
Yeah.
you and Graham Russell met each other at Jesus Christ Superstar rehearsals? I've
Hmm.
always enjoyed that show. I mean, I remember my dad came home with the concept album before it was even a show. And it's a tradition for me to listen to that every year around Easter time. So as I'm listening
Right.
to it, I'm trying to figure out, let's see, well, he didn't play Caiaphas because
No,
Caiaphas is the guy with the deep
that
voice.
was a bit low for me. Yeah.
So I'm curious. I mean, there are a lot of tenor parts. I actually looked it up. You could have been Jesus, Judas, Herod, Simon Zealots, or three of the priests are all tenor roles. So what did you guys play?
Well, I was initially just in the chorus,
Uh-huh.
which being an apostle and a leper and a merchant and all those things.
Because I mean,
But
yeah,
I
at this
ended,
point you're very young. It's
yeah,
1975.
well,
Yeah.
I wasn't very young, but I was a lot younger than I am now. Um, but I ended up understudying Jesus and Judas and Simon and Annas. So
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I got to play Judas, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 times. In fact, I have a great story. I got to play Jesus once,
Uh-huh.
and it's a fantastic part, obviously.
Yes.
And after the show, the producer was backstage, very gregarious kind of guy. And he said, I saw the show tonight, Russell. I said, yeah. Oh, thanks. What did you think? And he said to me, your voice is incredible,
Mm-hmm.
but nobody wants to see Jesus with an afro. So you're not doing it anymore. And I said, well, thanks. At least I got to do it once.
I mean, come on, Godspell. The Jesus character, where's, I mean, it's been done. All right. Well, that's funny.
Well,
It's a great story in Australia, though.
if you'd seen the guy that played Jesus, who's still a good friend of mine, he was the epitome of what the perception of Jesus is. So I
Oh,
was
okay.
so far away from that it wasn't.
Well, I do love that show. And I want to talk about the three times that I've seen you in concert because, it's my show and I can bring those up. One was here in Knoxville, Tennessee. You guys performed at the Tennessee Valley Fair to a sold out crowd of several thousand people. And it was an amazing show, as I expected it to be, because I also was fortunate enough to see you one time at what's called the Children's Miracle Network Celebration in Orlando, Florida, which is a beautiful event where they bring in the special children from each children's hospital around the country,
Right.
and have a pep rally for them. But they also bring in the goobers like me who do the radiothons and telethons, and we get some training in interesting media practices. Actually, we had an improv class. We get to do interviews with the children, our own champion from our city and such. But then the capper, the headliner for the night is some fabulous band. I mean, one year it was the Osmonds, and then the year before that or after that, it was Air Supply. And I made sure to be in the room for that. I wanted to see it. And it was even in this hotel ballroom, we were transported to a rock arena, and you guys put on a rock show.
That's another thing that I'm very proud of, and Graham is as well, and the guys in the band. That a lot of people that come and see us for the first time are under the misconception that it's going to be acoustic guitars and
Mm-hmm.
very quiet, but it's a full-on rock show. And I think worn is the wrong word to use, but make sure that people that come along and see us know it's going to be, and it's going to be energetic, and it's going to be dynamic.
Yeah.
We try and start the show at a certain level and have it keep moving to a great climax at the end of the show.
Yeah.
We work very hard at that, and
you show up on time and you work hard.
We show up on time. We don't cuss on stage, so we're perfect for everybody.
Yes. Now, it's funny you mentioned the acoustic guitar because that actually segues perfectly into the story I want to share with you. This would go back to 1995, and I'm working at an alternative rock station in Los Angeles, KROQ. It's the time, one of the most famous, most influential rock stations in America. And I'm on the comedy morning show. So Kevin and Bean are the hosts. Jimmy Kimmel is the comedy writer on the show, and I'm the producer. And we would plan and prepare bits all the time for the show. And this is around the time we'd had Tony Bennett had made I can't say comeback, but made an appeal to younger audiences by appearing at a KROQ Christmas concert. And this is that he was in 93 or 94. So you can imagine he went on to another, extra long career by singing with Lady, all those other things that he's done. We had Brian Setzer coming in to change, to his image. And we did a bit one time with the Knack where they were on a soundtrack, and for some movie, there's Reality Bites, maybe some movie. They had My Sharona was in it. So the Knack is going to perform at a KROQ event, even though we haven't played the Knack on KROQ at this point in almost 20 years. So David Millman was a guy who would listen to KROQ, and he was associated with many great artists, including he had some connection to Air Supply at the time. And he told us that maybe Air Supply could do something for KROQ. And, Jimmy is a wise guy. Kevin and Bean are wise guys. We all are. And we're thinking, oh, what could we do? We could have, wouldn't it be funny if we had them to come out with their acoustic guitars? Because we had that misconception. We were under the misconception that Air Supply is going to come out with acoustic guitars, and it's going to be like, Stephen Bishop in Animal House singing, I'm all out of love. Da, 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 da. And we thought, we could put them in one of our quarterly singles parties. Every 3 months, we did a singles party, and each one had a different theme. It's like we reinvented the wheel practically every time. We did a prom. We did a cruise. And Jimmy, being a wise guy, said, we're going to do a losers singles party on Valentine's Day. And so the idea is maybe we can get Air Supply to play it. So I tell this to David Millman. He's like, well, it sounds funny, and the guys have a good sense of humor. But David says, I'm not going to tell them, Frank. You got to go tell them. And he gives me an address of a recording studio in Glendale. And I drive over there, and I have a 2-on-1 meeting with the great Graham Russell and Russell Hitchcock. And I've got to pitch you on this idea of performing at an Elks Lodge where we're serving macaroni and cheese, and we've got the world's worst stand-up comedian as your opening act. And would you do it? And here's what it's going to entail. And I mean, I would love to say that I was a great salesman, but I also think you guys just thought, oh, it'll be a lark. It'll be fun. Let's do it. So I'm elated. We're fantastic. So we start putting promos on the air, but we played the promos straight. Coming in concert to the Elks Lodge in La Mirada, Air Supply, and then a clip of the song. But we just played it. It was produced the same as if it were a promo for Stone Temple Pilots. But it was Air Supply. Right. Well, you guys must have heard it. I don't know if you remember any of this, but somebody in your organization said, oh, this is pretty fun. And I start getting calls and saying, I know they agreed to an acoustic set. However, we're going to add an electric guitar. I'm like, okay, no problem. So I contact people and blah, blah, electric guitar. Then I get another call a few days later. Hey, we're going to bring drums. We're bringing drums. Okay, the next thing. And then next thing you know, it's a full back line. And then by the time we get to the event on Valentine's night, it's the full show, the full band. And it turns out that this Elks Lodge had a pretty decent stage. And you guys walked out on stage. And I got to tell you, every person in that audience, and they would have been in their, probably 20s and 30s. So if you think about it, when they were in middle school and high school, you guys were hitting the top of the chart, the song after song after song. So they knew every song. They're singing along. We were, what we were, Russell? We were lost in love. That's what we were.
Haven't heard that one before.
It was one of the best nights of my life, thanks to Air Supply.
Awesome. Well, that's very kind of you. We have a great, Graham always says this in interviews, we don't take ourselves seriously whatsoever.
Yeah.
And, we take the music very seriously. In fact, we did Mark and Brian once.
Yes.
And they had
I worked with them too, and you guys look like Mark and Brian, by the way, at
the
time.
Yeah. In fact, I was at a McCartney concert, I think, and I bumped into, who's the tall guy?
Brian.
Yeah. And I introduced myself, and he said, it was very nice, a bit kind of brushed me off a little because I don't think he thought that I knew who I am. And the next day on his show, he said, I was at the McCartney show last night. This guy comes up and he says he's staying with Air Supply. And he goes, I don't really think it was him. And anyway, the other dude said, yeah, that's him. And he was kind of freaked out. Anyway, segue to, they asked us if we would play in the morning, and they had a bikini contest for women who were pregnant more than 7 months.
Oh my goodness.
And I think they had the same kind of attitude. Let's get Air Supply on. Yeah. We'll have a bit of fun with them and at their expense. And of course, it was the same situation. We started to play, and it was game over. So
right.
never underestimate air supply.
Well, yeah, I mean, the bit we were doing, I definitely didn't want it to be at your expense because, here I am, if you will, the closeted Air Supply fan on the staff, right? So I'm looking out for Air Supply, but I'm also a fan of the deadpan comedy going back to, Naked Gun and Batman, where you just play it straight. You don't poke fun at the artist. Everyone's just does it like it's like this is normal. This is what we do. We play it at Elks lodges with macaroni and cheese, and let the humor and be in the situation, and because we're all playing our parts as if this is what we do.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, I know you're ready for Niswonger Performing Arts Center coming up on Sunday evening in Greeneville, Tennessee. NPACgreeneville.com is the website. There's a low ticket alert. I got the notification from the venue that there's only a handful of tickets left, but you want to make sure you grab those up. You've got multiple shows in the South coming up this weekend.
We're in Fayetteville, Georgia, and then Huntsville, Alabama, and then come to see you guys.
Beautiful. So, and what's down the road? I mean, the new single is coming out in less than 2 weeks now. Called
hopefully. Fingers crossed. It's always a bit of a crapshoot.
Called Be Tough. Yeah.
Be Tough. Yeah, it's a great song. Graham Russell composition.
Beautiful.
Produced by a guy called Jay Ruston. In fact, we're in a studio that was. It's a brand new one in Los Angeles. It doesn't have a name. It's so new. But
they should call it the Air Supply Studio.
No. This guy that owns it, he has some equipment that's mind-boggling. He has one of John Lennon's Vox amplifier heads. Brian Jones's Mellotron.
My gosh.
The board that was recorded on was from Abbey Road. McCartney recorded.
Wow.
I think Band on the Run or something, a couple of other things. So it's a very historied equipment studio.
Yeah.
It certainly adds to the experience. We were all, our chins were on the floor when this guy was showing us all the different pieces of equipment that he had. He's got one of Bill Wyman's bass guitars.
Wow. So you're mentioning a lot of Stones and Beatles, and it says right in the second line of Air Supply's bio, met at Jesus Christ Superstar, discovered they were both huge Beatles fans. It's like that's the second thing in there. Obviously, it's true. You're talking. I can see it in your face talking about the piece of equipment that Paul McCartney recorded "Band on the Run."
Yeah. Well, I went to one of Paul McCartney's first. In fact, it was the first concert that he played in the US where he started to play Beatles songs again.
Oh wow!
I think it was in '87, and I went with a friend of mine, and it was obviously very exciting. And my friend said, "When was the last time you saw Paul McCartney?" And I said, 1964 with the Beatles in Melbourne. And he had your expression. So I was there from the beginning seeing them. And my wife and I just went to see McCartney in Baltimore a couple of months ago. And I was once again blown away. 3 hours on stage, no breaks.
Amazing.
Played 37 songs. And blew everybody's mind.
He even came through Knoxville, Tennessee on that tour and performed at our basketball arena, the Thompson Bowling Arena. I mean, and just an amazing, amazing show. And then had the video duet with John Lennon that surprised a lot of people.
Yes. Yeah. That was a very touching moment,
Wow. And also, when you mentioned seeing the Beatles in Melbourne in 1964, you discovered in your early conversations with Graham that he saw them in England in 1964.
Yep. That was, we started rehearsing on the 12th of May and I met him, but it wasn't until a few days later that we actually got to have a chat with him. And we had so much in common. For those who are watching this that don't know, our birthdays are only 4 days apart. And we just had the same taste. I mean, the Beatles, certainly. We were both Beatles perverts, and we had the same... Because we're English and Australian, we have the same kind of sense of humor.
Yeah.
We liked the same foods at the time, same kind of movies. So it was really a match made in heaven.
And it's been a great relationship.
Never had an argument because there was no need to.
Yeah.
Plus he's 6'4", so I'd be on the receiving end if anything got serious.
And you're smart enough to give each other space. He lives in Utah. You live in California. It's not like you're worrying about the old classic line from, I think it was Van Halen or some other band. I hate the way you chew. They'd gotten so irritated with each other from being cramped up.
Well, I actually thought you were going to say you're smarter than him, and I'm going to take that.
Well, we're very excited about all of these things. Seeing you guys in concert, still going strong as Air Supply. I mean, for the foreseeable future. I mean, you can't. Why would you stop if you're still at the top of your game? There's no, just keep going.
We always said to each other, we're going to keep doing it as long as people want to see it.
Yeah,
see us, and as long as we feel good about doing it. So we have no reason to stop now.
I have to ask, I mean, everyone probably has a favorite Air Supply song, and you must hear this from every single person who interviews you or every single fan who comes up. But I'll put my vote in, and it sounds crazy to me to say it, but it's my Lost in Love, the first Air Supply song I ever heard, is still my number one favorite. When it, if I put it on random and I'm hear all the other ones, I'm like, oh, that's nice. Oh, that's nice. But I'm waiting for that lush sound. It's like, it's like a surround. It's like an orchestra. It's a symphony of music. It just hits you with everything all at once. The voices, the instrumentation.
Yep, agreed. Well, I have two favorites. All Out of Love is my favorite, and it's become our anthem. Really.
Apparently, that's the correct answer. You got the bell.
That's my favorite. But Lost in Love is my second because it was a big hit in Australia in 1978, and it took 2 years to get to the US and Clive Davis. But once it was released worldwide, it was the beginning of this journey that we continue after, nearly 5 decades, and it has a very special place in my heart.
Well, it should. Russell Hitchcock, I so much appreciate your taking time out of your busy day to spend time with us here on the Frank and Friends show, talking about Sunday's concert at the Niswonger Performing Arts Center. Check them out; there they are. It's I watched some of your videos, by the way, to prepare for this interview. Air Supply videos, or as I like to call them, Hitchcock films.
I'll take that.
So you can do all that and go see them. NPACgreeneville.com is the website. Make sure I get that right. It's not something else. Yeah, that's right.
Will we see you at the show?
I hope so. I mean, if I've got to get online and get my tickets. I haven't done it yet. There's a low ticket alert.
Make sure you come back and see us backstage. Love to say hi.
I would. I really truly appreciate your time. I mean, I know I'm gushing a little bit like a fan, but
that's cool.
It's much more fun to do an interview with a fan.
Yeah, right. Because you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Thank you so much. All right. Well, regards to your family and your wife there and everyone else. And Russell Hitchcock, Air Supply, thank you again.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Take care.